So, this is going to be a shorter video, but something has really just got me thinking. In light of Sonic Origins nearing release, roughly a year after I made a video on the gray area that Sonic 3 and Knuckles had been in prior to Origins being revealed in that Sonic Central presentation, I was watching some videos about the community's greater opinion on the game's upcoming release. I watched King K's latest video on the Sonic Advance trilogy and why its legacy is important, and it really got me thinking. The fandom as a whole, including myself, has been requesting remakes and remastered collections of different titles for decades now. Meanwhile, a majority of the Genesis titles have been rehashed and re-released countless times to the point that Sonic 1 and 2 are practically accessible on nearly every console. And that doesn't take into consideration how easy it is to play the Genesis Sonic titles through emulation. Despite how nice it will be to have official full HD widescreen versions of the original games, we have already gotten our fair share of Genesis compilations, and there are more than a handful of games in the franchise beyond the Genesis titles that deserve to be introduced to newer consoles. So, why do we continue to only get the 16-bit installments that open the series? Let's talk about it. To play devil's advocate out the gate, it's obvious that Sonic Origins came to fruition not only as a byproduct of Sonic's 30th anniversary, as the game will be released on June 23rd, exactly 31 years apart from Sonic 1, but in tandem with the release of the second Sonic movie. Obviously, with the blue blur hitting the silver screen in full force nearly 2 years ago, and now establishing a movie trilogy, the Sonic franchise is reaching a much wider audience of young kids who are just discovering the games. So, it's super justifiable to make Genesis collections for the latest generation of fans coming in from the movie crowd to close the gap. And to be fair, it's nice to see that there will be a lot of divergent content in Origins that will mix up gameplay, add new incentives, and increase the replayability of these 30-year-old titles. Putting that logic aside, looking at how other major franchises like Pokemon and Zelda don't pull punches when it comes to remaking and remastering games, it truly puzzles me why Sonic doesn't go down that same path. There are so many great games that I would love to see resurface, even if it's a simple remaster pack or port. As for the Sonic Advance trilogy, those games were ultimately the spiritual successors to the Genesis trilogy, and were massive landmarks for the franchise, being some of the first Sonic titles to be put on Nintendo consoles. I've expressed in more than one previous video how badly a Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 remake is needed. Those two games, and SA2 in particular, are arguably the most influential and iconic titles in the series, and despite the GameCube ports and the re-releases during the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, all of those versions are limited by the engine that was cemented by the Dreamcast's late 90s capabilities. The adventure titles have some of the best storytelling and settings in the franchise, and just imagine how stunning a full-blown remake on a current engine would be. What makes the whole prospect of it truly hurt even more is the fact that rumors of canned development have been floating around in the air for years now. Sonic Adventure 2 just turned 20 last year, and more anniversaries pass by with no celebration for one of the greatest games in its era. Another pair of games that deserve to be revisited is Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure. The two DS titles marked the first time the boost feature was truly established after its precursor in Sonic Heroes, making it another underappreciated and pivotal couple of games in the series. Yes, I know some people consider the handheld ports of both Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations as Sonic Rush 3 and 4, but even something like a reimagining of the first Rush title from the limited capabilities of the DS to the Switch would be a welcome sight. But it just seems that Sonic has too much going on to give any attention to revisiting anything more than the basics. And not to keep bringing Zelda into this, but seeing what HD remakes have done for Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, it really makes me wonder what a game like Sonic Heroes, and yes, even Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 06 would look like. Sonic 06 in particular, because as infamously criticized as it is, as much of a disaster as it is, from the bugs to the central plot to the character designs, there were some really sound concepts in that game that just weren't given time to be polished. Having the ability to play as so many characters in a similar vein to Sonic Adventure 2 was an exciting sales point for the game, and the environments in the realistically toned title were pretty captivating for the most part. Imagine if Sonic Team tasked an outside studio just to commit all into a Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 HD remake. Now, the game still won't be great in a lot of technical aspects, but man, it would be a visual spectacle with some truly exciting gameplay assets after some polish to cover up the unfinished wear of the 16-year-old stinker. I think Sega and Sonic Team has managed to work around remaking a mainline title by having titles like Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania during these celebration periods. And although I have no complaints with those games at all, as they are some of the best of the franchise in the last decade, I still think there should be some window to revisit the most important games in the series in full. I'll take a new game over a rehashed one 9 times out of 10, but when there is infamously Green Hill fatigue in the latest games in the series, I think there is some rehashing going on regardless. The closest thing that we've gotten in recent times is the Sonic Colors remaster in Sonic Colors Ultimate, but as we all know, the rollout of that game was less than ideal with a lot of infamous bugs at launch, and many fans, including myself, were unsatisfied with how the game was altered to fit into the current state of gaming, as well as to make it seem like there were any actual substantial additions to the remaster itself. At the end of the day, I don't have any real gripes with Sonic Origins. Is the price point extremely questionable for games that have been rehashed for decades now? Of course, but that is nothing new at this point. Is the DLC setup for the game super scummy for a compilation? Of course, but that is nothing new at this point. An entire other video can be made on Sega's trivial practices regarding Sonic and just about the entirety of their company, but that's neither here nor there. Like I said earlier, it makes perfect sense when assessing the current scene of the Sonic fanbase with the rollout of the 2 movies over the last 2 years. Modders have been making widescreen ROMs of the Genesis titles for years, and Christian Whitehead made the Sonic 1, 2, and CD ports years ago at this point. I just think it is a bit of a disservice to the younger fans to not have some of the other classics available in the new age. And to be honest, I just still really want to see some adventure remasters. We got Wind Waker HD for its 10th anniversary, and that game was so beautiful that I don't think I'll ever give up on my dreams to see my favorite Millennium games be remastered. But that's just me. How do you feel about Sonic Origins? Do you have some Genesis fatigue as well? What Sonic game or games do you want to see be remade, remastered, or ported to the current generation of consoles in the near future? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it to the end of the video, I truly appreciate you. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're real close to 1,000 friends. Anyway, as always, take care, good game, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!